Hundreds of them were rounded up. Hundreds of Muslims, they were detained for days and weeks together. As Justice Suraj said, that hundreds of them, they had been rounded up. Even their family was not informed. Imagine. And the thousands of innocent family members, they too have been harassed. We know about 22 to 25 so far have been officially arrested. All of them, 100%, none of them, not a single arrested case is directly linked with the train bomb blast of Bombay. All of them indirectly related to some other event. If you really catch the culprit, if you have proof, you have no objection. But at random picking up the Muslims, what signals are you sending? We know that about more than 300 innocent people were rounded up in Malvani. More than 300. For what? For interrogation. Any logical person will tell you that for interrogation, minimum, you at least require 3 or 4 policemen. If you want to do a proper interrogation, 1 policeman to threaten, 1 to have a soft approach, 1 to note down, maybe 1 to observe. At least 3, if not 4, minimum 3, for a proper interrogation. It takes minimum 1 or 2 hours. People, experts say 4 or 5 hours. I say minimum at least 1 or 2 hours. How many interrogation can you do? What is the manpower of the Malvani police station? What is the manpower? How many can they do in a day? 10, 20, 30, 40? How many? How many? What is the manpower? What is the force? Maximum 100 if you let it go. They round up more than 300 people, keep them waiting for the full day, then they take the telephone number and address and leave them. What signals are you sending? It is my request that the police should take the Muslims in confidence. Recently, after the bomb blast, there was a program organized by the non-Muslim. How we have Muslims have here on terrorism. Similar, there was a program organized by the non-Muslims on similar topics. Topic was different, but the issue was the same. By the non-Muslims. And the organizers had invited 2 ex-senior police officials from Bombay. Ex. One of them comes and blames the madrasa of Pakistan, the reason for terrorist attacks here. Second one comes and blames the madrasas of India. In the speech you tell them that they should have computers, English, no problem, I'm with you. But to say that the Indian madrasas are directly or indirectly, even remotely associated with any form of terrorism in India is nothing but a blatant lie. Unfortunately for that police officer, there was one of the senior advocates in the audience. After the talk, he went and told him that, can you even give me a single white paper, single proof that any madrasa in India has been proven to be associated with any terrorist act? He said, I don't know. Imagine what statement is this senior police officer giving to non-Muslims. What message are you sending? Hindus, in turn, will be against the madrasas. So making such irresponsible statements by senior police officers, see, I'm being careful, I'm not naming. Why? Because I'm a responsible citizen. What signals are you sending? I don't know of any madrasa in India. See, they are the center of learning. Fine, we may disagree. We may want English there, we may want modernization. I speak with the people of madrasa. I may have differences, have more education. Fine, have English, have computers. We agree. But to say that they are involved in terrorist activities, indirectly or directly, even remotely, is nothing but a blatant lie. So what is happening? What message are you giving? We know that hundreds of innocent Muslims were detained. Many were arrested. The police goes and does a search in the house. Then they find some books on jihad. Proof. Proof that involved in terrorist attacks. The Bombay media reported that these same books are being sold in the bookstores of Mohammad Road for several years. If that was the case, why weren't these bookstores closed down? Same books. Jihad. I would like to tell that, do you know, the Quran too speaks about jihad. And almost all, every Muslim house has the Quran. Do you mean to say that you're going to arrest all the Muslims of Bombay? What signals are you sending? I, being a student of comparative religion, I would like to say that if you read the Mahabharata, There are more verses of killing in Mahabharata than the Quran. If you have a competition, Mahabharata has more verses of killing people than compared to the Quran. Bhagavad Gita is nothing but a guidance given by Shri Krishna to Arjun. Arjun says, how can I fight against my own cousins? If you read Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 1, verse number 43, 44, 45, 46, he puts his arms on the battlefield and says, I would prefer dying unarmed rather than fight my cousins. Immediately, Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 2, verse number 2, Shri Krishna, he says, Arjun, how could you be an impotent? And he continues, time doesn't permit me, you can see my videotape. It says that it is a duty of the Kshatriya to fight. When we see in context, I being a student of comparative religion, I agree with all the verses of fighting in Bhagavad Gita and Mahabharata because I know the context. It's a fight between justice and injustice. It's a fight between truth and falsehood. And what Bhagavad Gita and Mahabharata say, that if you have to fight against falsehood, against injustice, even if it be your cousins, no problem, family members, fight them. We are with it. That is what the Quran says. What my request is that even the police should know the religious teachings of the different citizens of India. And I always take opportunity, and in the past several years, I have spoken to several non-Muslim police officers, senior police officers in Bombay, in Bangalore, in various cities of India. I was even called a couple of years back to the National Police Academy in Hyderabad, where I addressed more than 100 IPS officers, high-ranking commissioners of police, DIG, IG, DG, the Director General of the National Academy was there. And when I spoke, they were shocked. Most of the information I gave, they were shocked. You should know what is the teaching of different religions. Imagine if I pick up these verses of the Mahabharata and Bhagavad Gita and quote out of context, surely we can get rights here. We have to understand different religions. And by God's grace, alhamdulillah, I have spoken to police and military internationally. In UK, in USA, in Bahrain, in Saudi Arabia, in UAE. Alhamdulillah. And I love interacting, especially with the non-Muslim police. Giving them the right picture of Islam. Unfortunately, they get the information of Islam from the international media. I'll come to the media in the ending. So what we should say, that we should have understanding. I've been told by several advocates, and as Justice Suresh also said, that hundreds of Muslims were picked up. They were detained. Some of them mentally tortured, some of them physically tortured. The advocates told me that the clients, as Justice Suresh said, that they were tortured. Some of them were even made to sign on papers they didn't agree, even on blank papers. If you know who the culprits are, select a few, catch them if proven. If they have done it, they should be punished. We aren't against it. But to catch thousands of innocent Muslims, what signals are you sending? Imagine to catch 10 terrorists, you interrogate and harass 1,000 innocent Muslims, irrespective whether you catch those 10 terrorists or not, surely you are making 100 new terrorists. Many non-Muslim senior police officers in different parts, in different cities of India, and one particular in Bombay, he told me, Zakir bhai, Dr. Zakir Naik, I will only be happy if you give talk in Hindi and Urdu. Your talk should be heard by the masses. I didn't speak. Recently, a couple of years back, I started speaking. Many senior non-Muslim police officers in different parts of India, they tell me, they know that by God's grace, 10,000, 50,000, 100,000 people come for my talks. And when I went to Kashmir, because I was the official guest, I met the minister, power minister, chief minister, but at that time the governor of Kashmir, Saxena, he wanted to meet me. My schedule was tight. Non-Muslim, I took out time. He wanted lunch, dinner, no time, I went for breakfast. Saxena, the governor of Kashmir, he happened to be an ex-military man. I forgot his post, some colonel or major or high post he was. And we discussed. He was caring for the people of Kashmir. Later on, he comes to Maharashtra, he comes to Bombay. He wants to meet me. He calls me to the Raj Bhavan, the governor's house. I go and meet there. He tells Dr. Zakir Naik, you know, the impact that you had in Kashmir, the people that follow you, we want you to come again. We want you to come on the television of Kashmir. We want to come on the radio. But what my question is, that do you think my talk will be effective? I know that there is not a single verse in the Quran which justifies the killing of innocent human beings. There is not a single saying, a hadith of the Prophet, that you can kill innocent human beings, even if they belong to the same community that does an injustice to you. I know that. I can speak. But imagine if thousands of innocent Muslims are being harassed. The police, they tell us that most probably it's a hand of the LET, Lashkar-e-Toiba. For sake of argument, I agree with it. And the police tells us that the local hand should be involved, otherwise the bomb blast can't take place. I agree with it. Imagine the Lashkar-e-Toiba, if they're involved, if you interrogate 1,000 innocent human beings, they get ready-made recruits. Ready-made. You torture them, ready-made recruits.